Yeah, well, basically, we're setting things up so that, and it's an interesting collaboration because you're exactly right. Vig is saying that Aubrey's wrong, and Aubrey's saying, okay, well, we'll pay you to prove to prove that point.
Oh, okay, okay.
So, the answer could be fairly definitive in a reasonable period of time. So it's a really good collaboration. They get along really well, and he's a great guy. Vig is a wonderful guy.
Yeah, I know. I saw him at UABBA, and he had a wonderful presentation down there.
Yeah.
And like I said, it hits me from a what do you call a common sense point of view, genetic drift, what he has been arguing, as a mechanism of aging. So it'd be very interesting to see, and I'm glad to hear that other leading researchers in the world are collaborating with the Methuselah Foundation. So you're working with 2 or 3 other labs in the world. Do you find academia is becoming more receptive to the Methuselah Foundation and related research?
For sure. I mean, it's that's the whole point again of the Methuselah Foundation, is that we are an information catalyst, trying to change public perception that aging is an approachable challenge, so that public resources can be applied to it in creating this Manhattan Project atmosphere, or global warming crystallization, attitude crystallization towards aging. So in order to do that, we need to do research to convince academics, and we also need to show perhaps the business community as well that relevant therapies can be developed in terms of a business model, so that there's 2 communities that the public look to for validation that these are relevant therapies or relevant technologies to apply to aging. So, yeah, and we have found with the work, I mean, the amazing work really that John Schlondorn and the rest of the crew at ASU, as well as down in Arizona, Jeff Hall, who's our director of SENS research. I mean, these people are absolutely dedicated and to getting a handle on aging, and they are working for very little money, which is a good thing because we couldn't afford to pay them more. But we're going to crack this, and with that kind of dedication, it's just an impossibility that academics look at these people, look at these involvement of these brilliant students, and they go, wow, they're with this type of horsepower, this type of brain power applied to the problem. What are we potentially missing here, and how can we adapt to the new breed, I guess, of researcher that is coming out, that is just taking it as read that aging is an approachable challenge. So we are making a huge difference within the academic community.
Yeah, well, that's great to hear. I'm always I'm always looking for the latest things that are going on in the forefront of the battle against aging. And of course, our guest tonight is Kevin Perrott, who is on the leading edge of research and the battle against aging and death. And I want to remind everyone that if you have any more questions for Kevin about MPrize or Methuselah Foundation, please go ahead and ask. I did promise Kevin we'd do about a 30-minute interview here, and it is getting close to the end of that 30 minutes. And one thing I wanted also, before we would happen to get cut off or the interview would end, I always want to give everyone, all the guests, an opportunity to plug any upcoming events, conferences, books, announcements, anything for the Methuselah Foundation or the MPrize that you would like to speak about tonight, Kevin?
Well, we're going to be unveiling a new website probably in the month of October sometime, and we're also going to be doing a major push to try to complete our 300 membership run. Some of you people, most of the Immortality Institute, I think, are already 300 members.
Yeah.
It's just the support is incredible. We seem as members of the Immortality Institute to get the fact that we really need to put our money where our mouths are, and be able to not just more than money though. And I'm not going to plug the Methuselah Foundation as much as I am going to just try to put forward the message that anything you can do to try to influence and spread the meme, infect other people with a message of optimism, take every opportunity you can to become a credible messenger of this idea that aging and life extension is a legitimate thing to do with your lives,
right.
Because people will listen to you, and we don't need to convince everybody. And be a catalyst. Join the Methuselah Foundation as a volunteer. Start up your own chapters. Do whatever you can do. It's very essential that we all pull together.
Yeah, and as far as becoming a competent, say, advocate for life extension and Methuselah or Immens, you hang out in the forums and you just read a lot of stuff, and you talk with people. You participate in chats, and you watch the program here on Sunday nights. You just pick up all of the ideas and the science and the arguments that you can go out and talk to people about things on a competent level. So just, that's one thing I'd plug anyway myself. Spend time on the Methuselah website and at Immens and other organizations. We did get a question here from one of the audience members, Kevin. Are you satisfied with the progress of Methuselah and the MPrize so far? Do you think you're about at the point where your initial expectations would have put you in 2008, or maybe a little behind, or perhaps a little bit ahead of the game?
Oh, when you start off with $5,000 in 2003, and with the environment where people think you're an absolute lunatic and living in a fantasy world, I think we've done an incredible job. I mean, we've grown to be, I think, an organization of over 50 individuals, most of them volunteer, or at least very, very close to volunteer, and the effect that we've had, and by providing support to Aubrey, as well as we're running parallel research. I'm very, very happy with the progress we've made. That being said, there are challenges that we have in the future, which, if we really want to continue to be relevant, because it's very, as we all can see, events are overtaking us. Things are becoming more and more accepted, and the envelope we were pushing even 3 or 4 years ago is now becoming almost the status quo, and people are going, well, of course, we can do something,
Sure.
at least a little bit of something about aging.
Right.
So now the challenge is to how can we push it even further, and that of course takes resources and time and organization, and that's all something we've been working on very hard.
Yeah, and it seems like it is the right time to continue the push, and not just accept the fact, say, well, okay, anti-aging therapies, age reversal, sure, everyone's going to accept it now. We really need to keep pushing and keep widening our influence. And on that note, I'll give you one last question here from the audience. That's about the super rich people that are floating around the world and why they are not donating all that much so far. I mean, Peter Thiel, a very forward-thinking fellow, I mean, he's on the edge of a lot of things. And I know Bruce, what's his name? The guy who started Kronos Foundation. Obviously, he put a lot of money into anti-aging research.
Yeah,
however,
John Sperling.
Yeah, Sperling. I was thinking Bruce Sperling, but John Sperling. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no
and I just want to mention at the Convergence Conference coming up in November, Chris Heward from the Kronos Foundation will be there, everyone. So good.
Great guy.
Great guy. I've met him a couple of times. Yeah, great guy. But anyway, I know Aubrey, and probably yourself, and quite a few people related to Methuselah Foundation and even the Immortality Institute have been in contact with billionaires. And
Yep.
not too many have even donated, say, a couple $1,000 even, or become a 300 member, things like that. Is it just that super rich tend to be fairly conservative, or that they're just kind of getting woken up to the whole thought of age reversal?
I think it's a combination of both, really, because you don't become super rich because you're unable to focus on something. And so what the people who generally have an incredible amount of money have been able to do is they're dedicated to a particular path. They've been they've chosen, and that is what they're currently involved in. And the barrier to thinking that anything can be done about aging is very, very high.